Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and say it. This video was a pretty big epic fail. That being said, I don't feel like redoing it, and maybe something here will be useful, either for you because you will learn something new, or for me because I can check the comments and see what suggestions you all have for me that I can use to improve my setup. So if you have any suggestions for optimizations I can make, let me know. If you are here expecting some top-notch quality content, check back next video. That one will hopefully be better. But anyways, yeah, here's my setup. Hello and welcome. I'm Christopher Kapik, and today I'm going to show you how I set up my MacBook Pro computing environment. I'm doing this mostly because sometimes I think it's entertaining to look at other people's computing environments and see what preferences they have. And also just, yeah, I mean, that's really the purpose, is for anyone who's curious about what my computing environment is like and sort of my rationale behind different things. I'll explain as I go along the different decisions I'm making, and it's pretty consistent too. I usually reset my MacBook to factory settings once every 3 or 4 months. It's just nice in my head to like have that feeling of starting with a fresh install. So anyways, yeah, everything is backed up on a different hard drive, which I don't have with me, so right now we're just setting up as if it were a new computer. Now I am on Catalina, which is an older version of macOS. I just liked it and never upgraded to, I don't remember what the modern name is or whatever. So anyways, I'm just on Catalina for the time being. Yeah, so anyways, the other thing that I'm curious about is if there are any decisions you would make differently. I'm curious what they would be. I'm anticipating a common comment, if I do get a lot of comments, would be to just use Linux. And there are a couple reasons why I'm not using Linux. The primary few reasons are I am in the Apple ecosystem, so it is nice being able to receive iMessages and whatnot. And then the other thing is just like having touchpad gestures. Mac does a really good job. Apple does a good job with them, and it just makes my ease of life. I like it a lot. I do have a ThinkPad with an install of Arch Linux. I think I'm using KDE, and that's probably the biggest thing I miss, is having those gestures to be able to swipe back and forth between screens and whatnot. So if you have any ideas about how I can use gestures similar to like Apple's trackpad gestures. Also, I have a Magic Mouse. I got this for my company for work, and that's been really nice too. Although I'm not set on a Magic Mouse, I also, not at this setup, I do have an MX Master 3 specifically for video editing because it's got that scroll wheel on the side. I'm a big fan of that as well, and that's obviously not specific to Mac or Windows. The other reason I use Mac is, so I mentioned all those, I like the environment and I like the trackpad. I despise Windows. I think Luke Smith once made the joke, or he probably was reiterating the joke, that you either are okay with Mac and hate Windows, or okay with Windows and hate Mac. And I'm definitely, like, I really like Bash. And basically to use Bash on Windows, I mean, they've improved the way that you can do that, but still it just feels kind of janky. So anyways, yeah, I'll get into setting up my environment now. And if there are any different choices you would make, then feel free to let me know in the comments below. I love optimizing my setup, so if you have optimizations, feel free to let me know. I'd love to hear them. So the first thing I'll do is I never click these icons down here, so I'm going to remove all these from the dock. When I launch an app, I always use Spotlight. This bar down here I basically find to be a distraction, so yeah, we're just going to, if this will load, just remove all these down here. Now I know, I can't remember his name, I think it's Mac, but it's spelled a little differently. He's made several videos about Arch Linux and macOS, and he has a script to set everything up. And this is kind of inspired by him, but I haven't gone all the way to make a script I'm happy with. I think I do have a script on GitHub that I've used before. I will not be using that right now, though, just because I'm not I don't have confidence in it. So anyways, yeah, now that we've removed all those from the dock, I do like to keep my downloads in my trash right here. So we're going to open up System Preferences first, as well as Safari. And in Safari, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get the command to download bash. So brew rather. So we'll copy this, open up a terminal, paste, and go. Once we have brew installed, we'll get some other things we need. Now specifically, so the only other settings I've changed are I've logged into my Apple account, and what was the other thing? Oh, I set up my mouse. I'm using my Magic Mouse and key. I'm using Ampro 2. That's kind of irrelevant. Calebox white switches, if anyone cares. Let's see. I like to make my dock fairly small. Basically, what I like to use my dock for is seeing which apps are currently open. So that's why I removed everything else. And let's see. My screen's pretty small right now because I'm using my capture card. I do like magnification, but not that much. I like it just to be subtle. That's maybe a little too much still. That's nothing. That's another thing too, I don't really understand. Like, basically this whole range is all equal to nothing. I don't really understand. Maybe it's because my size is already fairly small. It doesn't really matter because I don't really change this anyways. After I initially set it, I look at the bottom. Let's see. Windows into application icon. Actually, I think I do want that. Automatically add and show the dock. And I do not like showing recent applications. Again, to launch anything, I always use Spotlight. I know that you can use Alfred as well. That's something a lot of YouTubers push. I basically just use Spotlight to launch apps. I just hit return in the brew install. I just use Spotlight to install, rather launch apps. I really use it for nothing else, so I don't really see a reason to install Alfred. So yeah, that's my dock setup. So it's hidden all the time, which allows my windows to open full. So eventually what I'll do is I'll install Alacrity. Yeah, that's what it's called, it's Alacrity. I'm trying to think. There's Alacrity and SKHD, the Simple Keyboard Hotkey Daemon, and they go together. I have made some videos before about window managers. If you're not looking to get a Linuxy style window manager, then I would probably recommend Rectangle. But if you are willing to take maybe a little bit steeper of a learning curve, Rectangle is kind of like the window manager that's built into Windows. So it's pretty easy to figure out. You can do the thing where you drag a window to the top and it makes it full screen, which is pretty nice. But anyways, I like to use Alacrity just because there's a little bit of extra ease of life there. If you know what you're doing, there's a little bit of a learning curve. I'm all for it. I guess the next thing that we'll do while we're waiting for this to download is I will open up my .files repo. I think this is it. I make no promises about this being in a good state of configuration, but we're just going to use it to get started with once this is done loading here. So this is probably really tiny for you. There we go. I'm sorry, I was talking about Alacrity. Alacrity is a terminal emulator that I use. Yabai is the window manager. I am a big fan of Yabai. I apologize for the confusion. But yeah, so I think I wonder why it's taking so long to do this. I'm going to stop the video and restart once it's finishing downloading these tools. Okay, so now that is good. Homebrew is finished installing. So now the next thing I can do is start installing programs. So the first couple that come to mind are Yabai, SKHD, Alacrity, and Brave is my browser of choice. Although Brave and Alacrity are probably casks. Brew.sh, Brave. It's Brave browser, so I'll copy this, and then Alacrity is also a cask. In the meantime, I will check out and see. Let's see if I have Git. So which Git? Okay, Git we're good on. So I'm gonna make my projects repo or projects folder. So I'll make dir projects. Oops, make dir projects. Okay. So I'll see in the projects. This is usually where I put all of my repositories locally. So we'll do git clone github.com/ChristopherCaptic. So again, I think I mentioned this earlier when I was showing the site. I make no promises that this will be up to date, but this is my .file repository. There are a couple configs that I think we'll use right away. There are others that I don't think are immediately necessary. The ones that come to mind that I'll use right away are Yabai and Alacrity's configs. Also probably NeoVim's, but NeoVim, I mean, you can use whatever text editor you want. Really, I think the things that I'm really trying to show off are using Yabai as my window manager, the dock thing, the fact that I use Homebrew for everything. I historically have kept like a master list of all of the apps that I use on my Mac, but I have since, so let's see, I've since stopped doing that because when I reinstall everything, I don't want to have apps that I no longer use making their way back in. So if I need them, then I'll come across the fact that I need them and eventually install them. So here, we'll install Brave. I should have done Alacrity first. Oh well, we've already started. And it seems to be going fairly quickly, so that's all good. And I'll open the other, I'll minimize this window. Now what I can do is, let's see if I can remember the command. Copy cursively .files config make dir image found. Okay, I'm just going to open this in a file manager. So basically, so I just hit Command Shift dot or period. We're going to copy this. I know there's a command for it. I don't care enough to figure out how to do this the right way. Maybe I do care enough. Why am I just... Where's the thing to go back up a level? Oh, I guess this is an important part of my configuration. Favorites, recents, applications. I don't care about tags. What I do care about home. Okay, here we go. I don't want this config folder. I don't want this one either. And I'll paste this one here. There we go. So now it has all of my config setup. I don't know if all these are being used or not. I guess we'll see. Done with that window, and now I will open this one and This cask is Alacrity. And maybe I can start UI at this point. Maybe not. I'll have to check the documentation to start UI. Nothing with UI. Interesting. Alright, so now we need to start giving apps access to things. So we'll open Alacrity anyways. Alacrity's been installed. And then we'll install UI with the installing UI latest release thing that we've got going on here. Alright. Yeah, so this seems about right. Oops. An unsatisfied requirement for this build. Alright, I guess UI will not be installed on this setup. What I may have to do is upgrade my version of macOS, and this is annoying. For the time being, we're just going to install Rectangle. I think it was called Rectangle. Rectangle and Rectangle Pro, interesting. Okay. Yeah, we'll just use Rectangle for the time being. It's not ideal, but I don't feel like figuring everything else out for right now. This video has been a bit of a disappointment. Indeed. We'll see if I post this or not. It'll be interesting. Yeah. Thank you for watching. I'll post this. What the heck. If you made it this far, thank you for watching. I appreciate the dedication. Hear my rambling and whatnot. There's probably an older version of UI I could maybe install, but it kind of seems like a lot of work. We'll see. Anyways, I'll just show off Rectangle while I'm here. It's very similar to Magnet, but this is free and open source. And let's see. Default shortcuts. We'll do recommended. Okay, so I don't have the shortcuts memorized. That's not really the point right now. But cool thing is, oops, if you are used to Windows, you can do the things like this where you just drag it around. And there's one in the bottom for the corner, and you can do like, let's see, what is it? I don't remember the shortcut for making it 2/3, but there is a shortcut for doing it like this. Yeah, I mean, if you're just like a normal computer user, I would definitely recommend installing it. There's really no harm because it's not going to negatively affect the way you work, whereas UI might. UI definitely, once you master the learning curve, I think is well worth it. But for the time being, I'm just going to work with this. Really, I just need to get my computer set up, and I figured I'd record this video. I do have a lot of programming to do tonight on a secret project that I'll probably make an announcement about in a little while. Yeah, for the time being, I'll just be cranking away on this, though. I'll figure out the UI question later. Maybe I'll just upgrade macOS. That might be my my calling to do that. So, anyways, like I said, if you made it this far, thank you for watching. I hope. Well, if there are any suggestions you have for ways that I can optimize my setup, I would appreciate it. I don't know what I'll do while you buy. I'll figure it out. Maybe someone will have a good recommendation for using the trackpad with a Linux distribution, and I can make the switch full time and just be working off of Arch, or I don't know. I'm open to other distributions as well. It doesn't have to be Arch, although obviously the memes are great with Arch. So I can say I use Arch, by the way. I mean, that's like the #1 reason to install Arch, or Linux at all, is just to say that you use Linux. I'm kidding, there are plenty of good reasons to use Linux. Okay, I think that's all. Okay, third time I'm saying it. If you made it this far, thank you. Yeah, have a good one, and I'll see you around next time.